Spider-Noir is the newest Marvel show that just came out. Let's talk about the pros and cons of the show and whether you should watch it. This show is pretty much completely disconnected from anything else in Marvel. It isn't even the same Spider-Man from the animated movies. The show essentially follows a Spider-Man named Ben Reilly, who's an older Spider-Man coming out of retirement and is a detective. It follows him trying to figure out why there are more superpowered people showing up in his world and him trying to stop some of the corruption in his world. Now for my thoughts on it, I thought the show was pretty solid. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking or anything you need to watch, but pretty much the first half of the show is kind of mid. It's like probably 7 out of 10. Then the back half is probably like a 9 out of 10. It really picks up towards the end. The first half is more focused on the detective side of the show, and then the back half is him being more Spider-Man and more action-packed. To me, this is when the show really shined, when there was action, him being Spider-Man. I didn't really care for the detective part of it. It was alright, it wasn't anything amazing, but the action in the show is really great. They pretty much nailed the powers part of this. The web swinging looks really great, and the villain's powers all look really good too. I also like that this is a more experienced Spider-Man that fights really differently than others we've seen. Instead of him just being like shoot with his webs, he's more tactical. He almost feels like an Assassin's Creed character. Also, because he's older, he doesn't hold up that well against the other villains. He gets beat up a lot. We also gotta talk about the environment in the show, and they completely nailed it. Like, it looks great, it sounds great, everything about it is great. You have the option to watch it in black and white or in color. I personally chose to watch it in black and white. That's what I think it looked better in. It really makes it feel like you're in that time period. Then we gotta talk about his suit. His suit looks phenomenal, especially in black and white with the glowing eyes. It just looks so great. Like, I can't say how the suit looks in color, but in black and white, it like blends into the environment very well, and it just looks phenomenal. I wish we saw this more, but this show really does explore the downsides of having powers. I mean, they aren't really considered powers, they're considered monsters in this show. And I think this is how it would be in real life. The people with powers essentially get exposed and exploited for their powers by powerful people that have a lot of influence, and then by the media they're portrayed as monsters. And I really just love when shows and movies do this, where it shows the downsides of it, and the people in it don't really want the powers. They think they're kind of a curse. I also love how the show is willing to be more brutal than other projects we've seen. Like, it gets to a point in the show where it almost becomes more of a body horror type of episode, and I think this is reflective of what people want to see. We have seen more and more of these shows becoming more brutal in terms of superhero shows, and they've been more successful because of it. Now don't worry, this show isn't very gory. There's not anything like overly gross in it. Just be aware that it is a lot more dark and brutal than other shows we have seen. Now this is a little bit of a spoiler, so skip ahead if you don't want to hear this, but I really love when the villain and the hero have some sort of relationship, and we see this in the show, and I think it works really well. It adds just like a fun element of suspense and drama where, like, is he ever going to find out that this is the hero? And this is something I wish we saw more of throughout just superhero shows, but we really don't, and the show does it, and it works really well. But overall, I'd say the biggest strength of the show is the action and the fighting. They really nail it. You don't see too much of it, unfortunately. I think the back half of the show is where it really starts to shine. And then the environment, they completely nail it. They nail the character. He's not the normal Spider-Man, but he's still a little quippy and fun, but he's an older version of him. And then it just really does feel like you are put in this time period of like the 30s, the 40s, I don't really know when, but somewhere around that time in New York, in black and white, with some sort of depression going on. It just all works really well. Now let's talk about what I didn't like. Like, I think the star of the show and kind of the middle of the show doesn't really work that well. It focuses more on kind of the mystery and detective part of it, but the mystery isn't really that mysterious. I think episode 1 really pulls you in as you start to feel really immersed in this environment and learning all these new characters and seeing him use his powers. And then after that, until like episode 5, it kind of lags on, feels a little repetitive. During these episodes, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of different characters and names you have to keep track of, and it gets a little confusing a little bit because it's in black and white and the characters all kind of dress the same, so it's hard to keep track of who's who sometimes. And then it's not really mysterious at all. Like, I never was really questioning what was going on. I was kind of just more so confused. It focuses a lot more on Ben being a detective and being exploited for his relationship with Spider-Man. And then, like I kind of mentioned before, I wish we just got more action scenes and fighting scenes. I'm not someone that's like, we need a lot of action, we need all the show to be action, kind of like some Invincible fans are, but I just wish we got more of it. I also don't think we got too many great character moments. Like, I don't really care for any of the characters by the end of the show. I don't even remember many of their names, to be honest. I think it just kind of had an issue of writing the characters, not necessarily writing as a whole, but just the characters. And then I think the villain was kind of a lot of telling us and not showing us. He's supposed to be the kingpin of this world, and we're supposed to believe he's this brutal mob boss, and we definitely see some of it, but I wish we got more of it. A spoiler here, but we pretty much just see him exploit the people with powers to be his weapons, and I wish we kind of just saw him get out there more and cause his own impact on the world. Most of the show is just him sitting down and talking to the characters that we do know. In episode 1 when we do see him get out and get a kill, which I wish we saw more of, although this is kind of me nitpicking, as I do understand that kind of the point of a mob boss and gangster is that he leads the people, doesn't really do it on his own, he makes the people do it for him. But like I said, I just wish we kind of saw more of him, because he was kind of lacking as an intimidating villain in my eyes. But overall, like I said, I think the weak point of the show is definitely kind of that episode 2, 3, 4 range, where it's kind of just lagging a lot and introducing a lot of characters all at once with a lot of moving pieces. Like, it felt like it kind of went halfway into the mystery, halfway out, where they didn't want to fully engage with it being a mystery show, but they kind of wanted it to be kind of a part of it. But overall, I did think the show was really good. I'd probably rate it at like an 8.5 out of 10. It's definitely like one of the better Spider-Man things we've ever seen. You could definitely throw it on like the Mount Rushmore of live-action Spider-Man projects that we have gotten. But I do like that this sets the precedent that we do need more unique type of superhero shows that are more brutal and explore different parts of characters. In a world that talks about superhero fatigue so much, this is definitely the type of show that combats that, as it is such a unique spin on what we have seen. And I hope this inspires people to go make new types of projects that are so different from what we have seen before that they set a new precedent in this realm. It's not focused on setting up the next show or movie. It's not focused on setting up and being inside the lore. It's focused on just being a good show. And this is a perfect example of what fans do want to see, and I hope it really just sets the precedent of what shows should be in the future. This isn't a must-watch, as it doesn't connect to anything else in any of the other worlds in Marvel or anything like that, but you definitely should watch it. Like I said, I'd probably rate it about an 8.5 out of 10. I would recommend it to anyone that wants to watch. But there you go, those are my official thoughts on the show, my review. Let me know in the comments if this is something you have watched so far, and if you have, comment your thoughts on it. Let me know if you agree with any of my takes. If you haven't watched it yet, comment if this inspired you to go watch it. If you're a fan of movies and TV, please check out the channel, consider subscribing, it would really mean a lot. And if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.